At 75, Don Johnson, the stylish, cool actor who once defined an era with Miami Vice and later reinvented himself with a range of film and TV roles, has finally shared a truth that has haunted him for decades, the complicated and ultimately heartbreaking love story he shared with Melanie Griffith. Their romance has long been one of Hollywood's most fascinating tales, filled with passion, turbulence, and enduring bonds. Yet beneath the surface, it carried devastating truths that Johnson has only now fully admitted. Their story began in the early 1970s, when Johnson was already an emerging actor and Melanie was a teenager growing up in the glamorous but often chaotic world of Hollywood. Don Johnson was 22 when he first met Melanie Griffith, who was just 14 at the time, the daughter of actress Tippi Hedren. Though their relationship was controversial, they fell deeply in love, and Melanie moved in with Don at the age of 15. By 1976, when Griffith turned 18, they married for the first time. But the union was short-lived, collapsing within just a few months. Johnson later admitted that while they loved each other, they were both far too young and unprepared to handle the reality of marriage, fame, and responsibility. Years later, however, fate brought them back together. By the late 1980s, Don Johnson had skyrocketed to fame thanks to Miami Vice, and Melanie Griffith had established herself as an acclaimed actress with standout performances in films like Working Girl. The two rekindled their romance and married again in 1989, and this time their relationship produced their daughter, Dakota Johnson, who would later rise to international fame through the 50 Shades of Grey franchise. For a while, it seemed as if Don and Melanie had finally found their happy ending. They were photographed constantly, celebrated in the media as one of Hollywood's golden couples, and appeared to have put the mistakes of their past behind them. But behind the glamorous public appearances, the same issues that plagued them before, personal struggles, substance abuse, and the pressures of Hollywood life, once again tore their relationship apart. By 1996, they divorced for the second and final time. What makes Don Johnson's recent admission so devastating is his acknowledgement of the deep regret he feels about the way things ended with Melanie Griffith. He admitted that despite their love, immaturity, and poor choices stood in the way of what could have been a lasting partnership. Johnson confessed that Griffith was one of the great loves of his life, someone he never stopped caring for, and losing her not once but twice left an indelible mark on his heart. The tragedy lies not only in the breakup itself, but in the realization, decades later, that the relationship might have survived had they both been in a better place emotionally and mentally. Despite their painful history, Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith remained bonded through their daughter, Dakota. Over the years, the two have been seen together at Dakota's premieres, family events, and celebrations, showing that while their romantic love may have ended, their respect and support for each other never disappeared. Johnson has often spoken about how proud he is of Dakota, crediting both himself and Griffith for raising her in a way that allowed her to thrive in Hollywood without losing her sense of self. In many ways, their daughter has been the greatest success to come from their otherwise heartbreaking love story. For fans, Don Johnson's confession is a sobering reminder that the celebrities we admire for their style, talent, and charisma are human beings who experience the same heartbreaks and regrets as anyone else. At 75, looking back on a life filled with extraordinary highs and painful lows, Johnson's admission about Melanie Griffith reveals that some wounds never fully heal, no matter how much time passes. Their story, full of passion, loss, and lingering affection, is one of Hollywood's most unforgettable romances, and it continues to captivate fans decades later.